Marcus here from Marcus Chamberlain Presents. I've got another episode of the Dolphin Zone. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe as I post other videos like this all the time. Now, today I'm going to be doing a mid-season review of the Dolphins after week 11 to this point, and we're heading into week 12 this week, as you all know. And I'm going to give my thoughts on the Dolphins right now. And as you know, Miami won, coming off their bye week, 20-13. It wasn't the prettiest of wins. It was probably more or less the ugliest of wins as far as wins are concerned. But you know, when it comes to stuff, it's not about how you win, it's about winning. So, I think that the team struggled in the game against the Raiders, and I don't think it's because necessarily Mike McDaniel was getting too cute with the play calling, per se. Although those 2 4th downs and shorts where they went for it, they should have just taken the field goal in those situations, but that's just my opinion. Outside of that, I think the reason for the turnovers, you know, you have a little bit of rust coming out of your bye week because you've had a week off, so I think that's just bye week jitters, you know. And, you know, I still think that there's some area where they need to be more aware of the football a little bit, which is correctable. So I'm not really that concerned, per se, that's going to come back and bite us in the butt. I just hate it when the team turns the darn ball over. Now, I'm going to show you some stats, guys. And I'm going to be putting them here, I think, in this corner right here on the screen. And the stats that I'm going to put right there are going to be Tua's stats from the game. Tua threw for 325 yards, was 28 of 39 in his completion percentage, threw 2 touchdowns, only 1 pick, but he also had that fumble lost on that quarterback run or whatever. But you know, I think that the reason that fumble happened is because Tua is not used to running the football as much. And that's something that's correctable. And, you know, and I always like to look at the positive things, but, you know, there still are things with the Dolphins that are concerning, and that's why I did this video today. I mean, another stat, which I'm going to put right here, this is not acceptable right here. Raheem Mostert having 22 carries for 86 yards. 22 carries for 86 yards. I don't know what that amounts to, but I know it's not pretty good. The only person outside Raheem Mostert offensively, not named Tua Tagovailoa, that had a good game on the offensive side of the ball was Tyreek Hill, and he had 10 receptions for 146 yards and a touchdown. So, I mean, Cheeto's back to what he normally did. And then Penguin, Jalen Waddle. He also added 4 receptions for 55 yards, but no touchdowns. You know, I understand you want to go to Tyreek because you have the mismatches and the mismatch advantage. But it's like at some point, you got to get Jalen Waddle more involved. That's the only thing I don't understand. I do like the fact that they're getting Cedric Wilson more involved, though, because it really makes our offense more multidimensional. And Chase Claypool was non-existent again, although he's out with an injury, so I don't know when we'll see him back. But I think I know the reason why Miami hasn't played Chase Claypool that much. I think it's more of a fact that he's still learning, and I think that they feel that he's better on special teams. But Mike McDaniel made a very interesting point, and I forget which press conference it is. You guys might have to look it up, but he was saying that they traded for Chase Claypool because of his blocking skills. So my thing is this: if they're going to have him be blocking, and because of him having good receiving abilities, I think their ultimate goal is to transition him to tight end. And so that's why I think that he hasn't had as much of a presence as what you would think Chase Claypool would have. Now, I don't know what Chase Claypool's stats are, so I'll list Chase Claypool's stats at the end of this video. But, Chase Claypool, I was never against that trade. But it was a trade that I felt like, we could have addressed other areas with that, like adding depth to the offensive line. But, I'm not going to complain, though, because we have another weapon for Tua, okay? The other thing that I want to bring up is this, from my personal midseason point. The defense has struggled, okay, at times. But these last 3 games, and including the Philadelphia game, which, to be fair, wasn't our best performance. I felt we should have won that game. You can blame the officials all you want because there was not a single flag thrown that should have been thrown. And I think that game was more competitive than what people in the media want to say it is. It is what it is, whatever. But anyway, we won the turnover battle in that game. Okay, so that to me stood out in that game. But I kind of felt that they were trying to rely too much on Tyreek Hill and not putting more of an emphasis on hitting the other dudes. And I've noticed that in several of the games. And I think that they need to put more a preference on the run game, but most importantly, run onto the outside and run up the middle. Mix in Jeff Wilson to keep Mostert fresh, because with the injury to A-Chain and now Ahmed going on IR, and with Chris Brooks being on IR, you got really not many people left that you can do to run the football. There's no guarantee that A-Chain will be ready for Friday against the Jets, although I think that he will play against the Jets, but not in a full capacity. But, it's like, you have to consider everything here with all this. And it's just mind-blowing. And like I said, though, with the defense, though, with the defense and whatnot, Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb are probably the greatest defensive duo since Zach Thomas and Jason Taylor. My opinion. Okay? And Andrew Van Ginkel, that dude is a monster. Those 3 dudes plus Christian Wilkins, they are getting it done. Jerome Baker, you had your moment to shine. Get to the bench. Let's put Channing Tindall in and see what he can do. Because little birdie told me he has impressed Dolphins coaches as well. But personally, I just don't think that Fangio trusts Tindall enough to get Tindall in. And where the hell is Cam Smith is? You drafted him in the 2nd round. You should be giving him some play time, even if it's in garbage time. But he's not receiving any playing time. Why do you draft him if you're not going to give him playing time? Heck, have him play special teams. Quit putting Jeff Wilson or Cedric Wilson or whoever it is back there, or Braxton Berrios back there, because they're vital to the offense. Put Cam Smith back there as a returner. See what we have, okay? Who knows? He could be the next Jakeem Grant in terms of returner, okay? So, you could have something there. You just don't know unless you try him out. That's the thing that frustrates me with this defense. And like I said, I think our defense has arrived. And Bradley Chubb, great trade. Initially, I thought it was a horrible trade after the decline of Bradley Chubb's play. But I'm supporting that trade again. Jalen Phillips, pay that man. Don't wait until his contract is up. Pay that MF, okay? Before he gets his rookie deal, dude. The more years you add onto that deal, the cheaper the deal is, and the longer you're going to have him on this team. Christian Wilkins, I hate to say it, The only way I see him coming back is if you franchise tag him. And I think the only way that he'll agree to come back on the franchise tag without holding out is you have to be like, okay, look, we're going to put the franchise tag on you. We're going to work on a long-term deal. But right now we don't have the funds to work on a long-term deal. We'll have it at later in the year. So we're just going to franchise tag it, and we're going to work on a deal and then get it done over the course of the year. That's the only way I can see that getting done. Connor Williams, see ya. Lane Eichenberg, he's our starting center. He's done great as our center. Draft in another guard and another tackle, and I think our offensive line is good. Who knew that Butch Barry was actually a good offensive line coach, especially after the disaster with the Broncos last year? Who would have thought? I knew I didn't. But, out of all the stats, though, from the offense and the defense, I mean, Javon Holland is continuing to be a monster. Same with Xavier Howard. Kader Kohu continuing to be dominant. And, of course, Jalen Ramsey, welcome to the club. In just a 3-game sample size, he's already got 3 interceptions. And I'm going to tell you right now, he's on pace to have one interception per game. Okay? And let's see, we've played 10 games. We've got 7 games to go. He's already got 3 interceptions. If you go based on his stats alone, he's on projection to have at least 10 interceptions, 3 tackles for a loss at a minimum, and 2 sacks. He's on pace to put up those type of numbers. Okay? And for a dude his age to be playing like that, coming off of an injury that was supposed to keep him out even longer, it's just absolutely insane. So before anybody says, oh, the Dolphins can't beat the playoff caliber teams. Well, you want to know something? We didn't have Jalen Ramsey then. Okay? I guarantee you now that we have Jalen Ramsey, we're going to kick some butt. And here's the thing with the Chiefs game. This is just my thing. The only reason why the Chiefs won that game was because of a controversial fumble that was returned for a touchdown. Personally, I felt Tyreek Hill never originally had possession of the ball. It should have been an incomplete pass. Secondly, there was clearly an illegal block on that penalty. So if nothing else, there's that. And 2, I think the play calling in the second half was a little susceptible. But the defense wasn't the reason why we lost that game. And if you want to get technical, it is extremely hard to shut down the Chiefs' offense. Okay? We held Mahomes to under 200 yards passing, which is hard to do. But yeah, so shutting down the Chiefs in the second half with our defense, that's unheard of. We held Mahomes to under 200 yards, and we held that Chiefs offense to under 300 yards. That is completely unbelievable, guys. You got to realize there's more to football than meets the eye. And once we get this, and once we start playing these games and we start getting to these tougher games, we're going to realize that we are the best team in the league. We may not be showing it right now, but we will be a good team. So, I want to get into a little bit of news really quick. First thing, the Dolphins re-signed Darrington Evans to their practice squad. He's a running back, and then they also activated Robbie Chosen, formerly known as Robbie Anderson, to the active roster, and placed Salvan Ahmed on the injury reserve, which is a huge blow for our offense, and it totally sucks. So yeah, and I got one more thing with my mid-season review. I would say our offense, I'm going to give it a B-, only because it's good, but it could be better. Our defense, I'm going to give it a solid A-, because it's really good, but it could be better. So, and hopefully Friday, our defense will destroy Tim Boyle, and we will blow out the Jets big time. So let's go get a win there on Black Friday. Fins up, guys. And remember, Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl.